Chapter 8. How to turn a $5 book sale into a $100,000 per year client. Quote, "We're too focused on how do I avoid criticism and not focused enough on how do I make a difference." End quote. Seth Godin. We started this chapter with the math of simple. We've talked about the funnel flow and the pages and offers required to make the balancing act equation work in our favor. If you were to follow only what I've taught you in this book so far, you'd be able to sell your book at a profit and at a rate of 50, 100, even 200 copies per day. But that's only one part of what makes the One Book Millions method so effective. Yes, of course, I want you to sell truckloads of your books to thousands of people. But even more, I want your pipeline to be filled to overflowing with pre-qualified client prospects, ready to hand you much, much more than just the $5 for a book. In this section, we're going to be discussing the 4 things needed to turn a book buyer into a premium client or customer, which are 1. A good offer. 2. Email follow-up. 3. Filtering. 4. A phone call-based sales process. When our clients have all 4 of these pieces dialed in, it's effortless to scale beyond $100,000 per month, and to do so with healthy margins and predictability. Let's examine each individually to see exactly how. Number 1. A good offer. Right now in your business, you do things for clients and customers, likely because it is what has worked historically. Another way to say it, you do it because that's just sort of how it all shook out in the end. You may have tested a few things, but really you do it because that's what people have paid you for in the past. So you keep on doing it, hoping it doesn't break. You've built a reactionary business rather than a business built on purposeful design. That's okay. You aren't alone. Very few companies actually sit down and think through whether or not the offer they are presenting is the very best offer they could put together. Few people ask, is this really the best I could do for my clients? An often overlooked aspect of marketing is offer design and offer economics. For many years, I ran my business on either a retainer or per project basis. It wasn't until I began implementing things like performance-based compensation, sliding scale payment, delayed onboarding, and other mutually beneficial payment structures that I could go from charging $30,000 per year per client to more than $100,000 per year per client. It wasn't the marketing that changed my economics. It was offer design which changed my offer economics. Now don't get me wrong, I never close a $100,000 client. Instead, I have created a series of very compelling offers, which allows clients to pay for one result at a time. Over time, if the client buys the next thing and the next thing, eventually, they'll have paid me $100,000 inside of a single year. For example, one of the offers I hope to make you someday is for my team and I to build your entire funnel, help you to create the book, help you create your order bumps and upsells, and to run the traffic optimization and tech for your funnel until you are profitably singing my praises as a magician of the marketing type. But I'm not going to charge you $100,000 up front. That would be silly and probably impossible for many of the readers of this book. Instead, we have purposely priced our offers to include A. An option for people to have us build their funnel for zero money down, and B, a way for us to be compensated after you've made much more than what we charge. Why have we done that? Because our goal is to create long-term clients who are willing to pay us monthly retainers after we have already delivered profits and results. Suddenly, we stand out against all the other funnel builders who charge crazy prices, guarantee zero results, and want all the money up front. We designed the offer around solid offer economics, knowing who our clients are and how we could best help them. The easiest way to stand out in a competitive market is to get really good at designing offers that actually help people. The point I'm trying to make here is that you could create the best short book ever, run the best OBMM funnel that sells 1,000 books a day, but if it leads to a bland, boring, or regular offer, it is unlikely that you'll be able to scale to $100,000 per month or more. You'll get loads of prospects ready to pay you premium prices, realizing that you don't have a premium offer. And here's what happens when you get people excited about something but don't have anything else to sell them. They take that excitement and spend money on someone else who is ready to help them. That means you could sell a book, get someone excited about a concept, and they could end up spending money with your competitor, even though you did all the hard work. Remember, buyers buy, whether it's with you or someone else. Having an outstanding offer is simply the natural next step toward where the buyer is already headed. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you need to adjust your business to pay for performance. Only a very few companies can actually own that promise. Although, as a side note, by using a short book to filter the quality of your clients, it does make it easier to offer pay for performance and sliding scale pricing. Instead, what I'm talking about is taking the time to rethink your core offers, rethink your coaching, rethink your services, rethink your courses. If you knew that only your dream customers and clients would be buying from you, that they would do everything you said and follow your instruction and advice always, what more could you do for them? For us, when we have that dream client who reads a book of ours, books our service, and lets us help them to the max, we can create life-changing results together. Scaling to $100,000 per month or more. Giving them a marketing system that lets them take 4 weeks of vacation and their business still grows. Turning them into real business owners with predictability, growth, and peace. A couple of things to consider when rethinking offer design and offer economics. Number 1, premium pricing equals premium experience. The more you charge, the more you can do for people. It really is that simple. I can have a very big team of very qualified people, and I am able to offer more than the average funnel builder and coach in my same space because I'm not cheap. I don't have to be cheap because my OBMM book funnel allows me to scale my influence, automate my indoctrination of prospects, and offset my advertising costs. I have more people inquiring about my services every day than I have interest or time to take on. Hence, I'm able to charge more. Remember, my cost to acquire a client is 0, which means I have more left over to spend on making my offers and experience above average, which is what ultimately increases my conversions to scale to $100,000 a month with a natural, stress-free ease that I just don't see others achieving. I recommend the following pricing structures in your business if $100,000 per month is your goal. At least one offer worth a one-time payment of $5,000 or ongoing monthly payments of $2,500, and one offer of $25,000 per year or more. Those offers could be group coaching programs, they could be done with you individual coaching experiences, they could be masterminds, they could be services, they could be any number of things that add at least 10x value to the people who purchase them. After more than a decade in this game, I have found those two price points in a business make scaling very, very easy when the cost per acquisition at that level is 0, thanks to the advertising cost offset from the One Book Millions method funnel. Number 2. The best offer to make next is the next logical step. Oftentimes, business owners will create a short book that is well received and then accidentally make the wrong offer at the wrong time to their new readers. This can turn their new fans against them, ruin future sales, and even cause high refund rates. How do you know you're making the right offer at the right time to your new readers? There are 2 ways to check your offer sequencing. 1. Are you increasing intimacy? In the One Book Millions method, you provide a significant amount of information about what you can do for people in your book. For example, by the time you finish this book you're reading now, you'll have an excellent understanding of how to turn a book into a 7-figure business. The next logical offer for me to make you is to help you achieve what you've read in these pages. The price of my help depends upon how intimately you and I will be working together. For example, we have a course that is a few $100s, which is a series of videos, templates, and training that helps you to finish your book in 14 days. You do not get any access to me or my team guiding you one-on-one. It's a self-guided course meant to help you get your book done ASAP. Hence, the price is just a few $100s. On the other end of that intimacy spectrum would be for you to hire my team and me to write your book for you, build your OBMM funnel, run it to profit, and help coach you one-to-one on scaling it to $100,000 per month or more. In that case, the intimacy is very high. You get to talk to someone every day. We look at your specific business, give you specific tips, and do all the work for you. Hence, the price for that is much, much higher. You won't find much new information in hiring us, but you will get it all done for you. That's the key. If anything, most people are undercharging for access and intimacy to themselves. I've seen very intelligent, very qualified, very skilled individuals give unlimited email access for as little as $100 per month. To me, that is insane. $100 per month unlimited email access means, by definition and the laws of physics and time, that the access being given isn't great. It cheapens and constricts intimacy. If you want me to actually be able to sit down and think through email responses and provide you profound and helpful insights, I need to be compensated significantly more than $100 per month. Not because I'm greedy, but because what people are buying when they purchase high touchpoint, high intimacy offers is your time. And when you have a system like the OBMM book funnel, you'll have more people wanting to pay you for your time than you'll have time to give. This is why properly priced and properly designed offers are important. You can move away from only offering one-to-one and start moving into one-to-many solutions, group coaching, digital products, hiring staff, etc. 2. The next logical step. If you write a book about apple farming, your book reader's next logical step will be to purchase seeds. So it would make sense that the offer you make to someone after they read your short book on apple farming would be a monthly bundle of apple seeds. It's the next thing your book reader needs. Maybe for you, the next logical step after someone reads your book is a consultation call. Maybe it's to set up their Facebook profile to be prepared to run Facebook ads. Maybe it's for a husband and wife to schedule their first date in 10 years, and you offer 101 dating ideas. Or maybe the next logical step after reading your book is for them to take accurate body composition measurements, and you sell a scanning machine that takes the most accurate measurements in the world. Ask yourself, what is the next logical step for my customer, for my reader to take? Then design offers that satisfy that need. What ends up happening is that your readers will thank you for helping them progress. They'll become loyal to you and the results you give. Eventually they'll ask, what's next? And as long as you're willing to listen, they tell you exactly what they want to buy. You just have to go make it. Someday, I'll sit down and write an entire book just on creating offers that can scale and help you leverage your time while delivering great results. For now, I have a digital training course titled The 7-Figure Offer, which you might find valuable for creating better offers for your business. Either way, spending time creating better offers will make this OBMM process significantly easier. Selling good stuff is easy. Selling garbage is more difficult. Number 2. Email follow-up. The first and most important rule of marketing is that people have incredibly short attention spans. Many businesses have died ignoring this simple concept. The day someone buys your book will be a moment in which you have met their attention at the exact time they felt a desire to make a change. Another way to think about it is the purchase of a low-priced book is a brief moment in time. Once your book has been downloaded, the likelihood of that reader becoming a client decreases with each passing moment. Why? Because distraction is the engine of the modern age. Consider the distractions that must be avoided for someone even to access the book that they purchased. Think this through with me. Step 1. Someone sees an ad on their timeline amidst all the other distractions, ads, pictures of their ex-girlfriends, distressing political arguments and news, etc. Step 2. They click that ad and are taken to a page that contains text that they must read, while at the same time they have a tab open for YouTube, a tab open for looking at cat memes, and a tab open for the work they're supposed to be doing at the moment. Step 3. They somehow survive that barrage of distraction and hit the order page when they suddenly realize they don't have their credit card on them to purchase. Step 4. They have to get up from the computer, ignoring the open tabs and the dopamine dump of mindlessly surfing the internet to find a credit card. Step 5. Then they have to come back to the order page, type in all of their details, click the order button, and eventually land on the thank you for ordering page. Step 6. Then they either download it directly or say to themselves, I'll read it later, which is much more likely. Which means that the next time they're going to actually access your book, it will be in their email inbox with the receipt and welcome email. Step 7. The next day, they open up their inbox. There are 200 plus emails, one of which is the book that they bought the day before. They somehow survive all the distractions of the subject lines and the interesting offers and the mindless emails and the anxiety-ridden email from the boss, and they finally open the book. I could go on and on in this process, outlining the day-to-day experience of our people, our customers, our clients, our readers. The point that I'm trying to make is the average human being is living a barraged lifestyle of distractions. To assume that someone will buy a book, read it, and then remember to pursue you to purchase something else from you is too naive in today's age. It's also dangerous as a business owner to rely on distracted customers to keep your lights on. Instead, what we must do, if we truly can help people, is to fight our way through the distraction to the individual, so that we might be able to help them in some meaningful way. The best tool that I know of for fighting through distraction and getting our readers' attention is email. Aside from the skill of copywriting, email marketing might be the #1 reason I was able to pull myself from the streets and into a 7-figure per year annual income. Email is a tool of attention. In the case of the OBMM book funnel method we've been talking about so far, email is the main tool you'll use to move people from book reader to premium offer buyer. Now, the question is, what kind of emails do we send? How often do we send them? And what is the exact structure of those emails? There are 3 types of emails you'll want to send your book buyers once they've purchased. 1. Nurture emails. 2. Invitation emails. 3. Follow-up emails. Let's explore each of these email types now. Nurture emails. The purpose of the nurture email is simple. You and I must have a relationship of trust before you're willing to spend big bucks with me. Relationships of trust don't just fall from the sky. There are 2 things I can do to help you trust me. 1. Deliver results in advance. The book does that already. 2. Remain in constant contact, sharing more value than you expected to get. This means that nurture emails can do a few different things and effectively move you from reader to prospect I'm excited to work with. First, a good nurture email should encourage the consumption of the book. Sending an email 2 or 3 days after the purchase that looks like this is powerful. Subject: How's the book? Hey friend, just wanted to check in and see how you were getting along with the One Book Millions method. Have any questions about what you've read so far? Your friend, Mike. I found the more human and casual you make these nurture emails, the more likely they will do exactly what they're meant to do: nurture a real human relationship. Aside from encouraging the consumption of the book, I can also provide additional value via an email like this. Subject: 15-minute offer creation. Hey friend, I just recorded a podcast where I talked about creating powerful offers in 15 minutes or less. You can listen to it here. Link to the podcast. If you like what you heard and want help getting your OBMM funnel up and running, just hit reply to this email. I've got a few slots open for client work this month. Thanks, Mike. Do you see what I did here? I know that one of the common questions I get from this book is, how do I come up with good offers to sell to my book readers? So I created a podcast episode that answers that question and sent it to all my book customers. Why would I do that? If you want someone to believe that you can help them, help them. One of the easiest ways to help people is to answer their questions. Content that answers a question, plus sending it to your list of book buyers, equals a full pipeline of qualified sales calls for your premium and high-priced offers. Now let me ask you a serious question. Did any of these emails feel spammy to you? Did it feel like I was ramming my next offer down your throat? Of course not. But they do work for moving people to the next offer. Did you catch the invitation I embedded in that last email? Nice and simple, right? Sort of goes against the grain of all the marketing gurus and their advice to push hard via email, doesn't it? Well, when you're selling 100 plus books per day, you can send emails like the one above and fill your entire call calendar for 2 weeks just by sending a soft call to action like that. Most email marketing gurus teach hard email tactics because their lists are made up of freebie seekers. My email lists and the lists of my clients are made up of customers. Big difference in what it takes to move a freebie seeker versus what it takes to move a buyer, and especially what it takes to move a reader. Invitation emails. Nurturing people, building goodwill, and delivering results in advance is all good marketing strategy. But at the end of the day, we need calls. We need people buying stuff. We can't expect to retire from a single book. We need to move people into our other offers. This is where the invitation email comes in. At some point, you need to let people know how they can work with you. If you've written a good book and you've put it into the hands of enough people, then your invitations to your other offers will come as welcome surprises to your readers. Let me give you an example email to see what I mean. Subject: What's the plan, Stan? Hey friend, by now you've probably finished reading the One Book Millions Method. I hope it has encouraged you to rethink a few things about your business. I really hope that it has inspired you to make a real change so you can grow, scale, and impact the world. But can I give you some advice? Inspiration without a plan isn't a strategy for growth. So, what's your plan to implement all the stuff you learned? Are you going to do it yourself? Do you want help? Right now, I've got 2 slots available this month to work with clients to implement everything you've read and get your book, funnel, and business scaling in the next 45 days. If you're interested in talking about how we might work together, please go here and book a call. Link to call booking page. I'd love to work with you. I think we could do great things together. Thanks, Mike. Again, what you see is a normal human talking to another normal human. This email doesn't look like a sales email. It doesn't look like it could generate $100,000 per month in sales, but it does. It does so because the book has already done all the hard work. My job is just to remind people I'm here to help and to tell them exactly what they need to do to get that help. Don't ever be afraid of telling people exactly what they need to do to get exactly what they want. As my early business mentor once said, most people are walking around with their umbilical cord in hand, looking for a place to plug it in. People want to be shown the exact process for getting what they want. For those people who need your coaching, services, or digital courses, they want you to tell them what they need to do to get their problem solved. So tell them. Invite them to do exactly what they need to do to get exactly what they want to get. Be a leader. Send an email, get sales, rinse, and repeat as needed. Follow-up emails. So far, we've used email to build a relationship of trust and invite our readers to the next step of how we can help. But we still have one more tool in our tool belt to fight against distraction and help our prospects make good choices. We call this tool follow-up. It seems so straightforward, you might be tempted to glaze over this section, saying, yeah, I already know how to follow up with prospects. Maybe you do, but are you actually doing it? Are you doing it enough? A quick metric to determine if you're following up enough with prospects is, if you were to stop your follow-up methods today, would your sales volume cut in half? Another way to think about it, are your follow-up methods doubling your sales? If not, then here's the secret to making sure your follow-up works. Automate it. Don't rely on manual follow-up anymore. Remember, we're trying to work you out of your marketing process so it can produce without you. Automated follow-ups are the #1 way to increase the number of premium offers, high-ticket coaching, and done-for-you services you can sell to your book buyers. I recommend follow-ups to be automated in the following ways. When someone books a call with you, follow up to ensure they show up on time and prepared. These emails should contain reminders of the time and place the call will happen, as well as an overview of what the call will be about and what the results of the call will be. After the call, send automated reminders encouraging people to recall the main benefits of your offers, and send helpful messages encouraging your prospects against procrastination. When someone buys your book, follow up with them to remind them to consume your work, take the next step, and remind them of the key benefits of your method. When someone consumes additional helpful content you produce, follow up with them, asking them what they thought to spark informal conversations, which often lead to sales calls and closed clients. Check in with your book readers every 14, 30, and 60 days with automated follow-up emails that challenge them to do something about what they learned. I could go on, but hopefully you get the picture. The idea here is to automate all instances where you might normally require manual effort to encourage and move people towards your offer. Listen, if what you do helps people, then you have a moral obligation to encourage people to get help. Human beings are inclined towards stasis, yet everything we desire requires change and growth. Therefore, the greatest impact you can have on your fellow humans is to be the one who encourages them to get outside of their comfort zone, make some decisions, and take action. Even if they don't buy from you right away, they'll thank you for influencing them towards their goals. How often do you email? The next question is, how many of these do you send? Here is my honest and sincere answer, which might not be to everyone's cup of tea, but I have found it incredibly profitable and valuable. You send these kinds of emails until someone says no. How often do you mail them? I prefer to send emails as often as my audience enjoys them. For some book buyers, that means every day. For others, it could be once per week. It depends on the audience, is an aggravating but accurate answer. It also depends on how helpful you can remain while sending emails. If you find you can only send one helpful email per week, then only do that for your nurturing. Your invitations and follow-up require similar measurements of effectiveness. Remember, the whole point of the OBMM is to be efficient and do away with hustle. To replace brute force marketing with precision efforts that are well thought out. Once you find your emailing rhythm, the next step is to start working on a system for filtering your prospects, so you can focus on working with only the best, the most willing to pay, and the most likely to buy now. Number 3. Filtering. Quick lesson in economics for entrepreneurs. 80% of the money that you will ever generate in your entire lifetime will come from 20% of the prospects you talk to. For more information on why this is true, I recommend reading the 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch and 80-20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. You don't need a PhD in economics to look back on your business and see this truth play out. If you sit down and calculate how many people you've talked to via the phone, via outreach, via social media, via email, etc., and you attach those conversations to revenue earned, you will find that a tiny percentage have generated most of the incomes you've experienced in life. As a business owner trying to scale, your goal is not to simply talk to more people, but to identify the right people, the 20% of conversations that will generate 80% of your revenue, and eradicate the time-wasting conversations with the 80% of conversations that brought in 20% or less of your cash. Think about that for a minute. The little voice in your head is probably telling you, to scale to $100,000 per month or more, you need to talk to more people more frequently and widen your scope of conversations to generate massive revenue. What economics and my own experience suggest is that, in fact, you cannot scale until you start talking to fewer people, specifically the right people. This is what makes the One Book Millions method so effective for people trying to sell their services or coaching or higher-priced courses. The book that you create acts as a stage 1 filtering process. By the hook you select, by the content of the book, and how you market that book to strangers, you are filtering from the larger audience, the fewer, better prospects that represent 80% of your future revenue. From the outset, you are attracting people into your circle by charging them to consume your information. Only the very serious are willing to pay for information. By presenting your information and expertise as a book, you are filtering out those who aren't even willing to read to better themselves. You are filtering out passive consumers. You are focusing only on those serious enough to take on the challenge of reading by charging even a small price to access that information and knowledge instead of giving it away for free. Here's an interesting statistic about people who read. 16% of people who make $80,000 or more read 20 to 50 books per year. Only 4% of people who make less than $40,000 read that same amount. People who love reading books tend to have more money to spend. Another built-in filtering system inherent in the One Book Millions method. So, right out of the gate, just using the book to filter will bring you a higher level of prospect. And to be honest, many of you reading these words would likely see the financial goals you're trying to reach if that's all you did. Wrote a good book to the right people, sold it at scale, and invited those customers to have a conversation. However, I recommend another layer of filtering to my private clients, which is to filter for intent. There is a difference between someone who is buying information, i.e. a book, because they are interested in learning, versus someone who is buying a book because they need help as quickly as possible and are looking for any and all solutions to their problem. Example. Person A buys a book on apple farming because they're looking for a new hobby. Person B buys a book on apple farming because they need to figure out how to feed their family. Can you guess which one has more serious intent in consuming the information? A less extreme example. Person A buys the One Book Millions Method book out of curiosity to see if this is the year they're finally going to write that book. Person B buys the One Book Millions Method book because they've had it with living below their potential. They want better clients, more money, and a way to create massive impact in meaningful ways. Which one do you think has more serious intent in consuming this book? So, how do we filter for intent? Dynamic applications. I no longer accept static form-based applications. You know, the ones that look like a cheesy web form where all the questions are laid out bare? You ask the same boring questions to everyone who hits the page, and regardless of their answers, you say, "Hey, book a call." Yeah, I don't do those anymore. Instead, I use a program called Typeform to build applications that prospects fill out and are shown different offers based on the different responses they provide. For example, if I were to sell a farming coaching program, my dynamic application might look like this. Prospect A, who has zero farmland and is just getting started in pursuing the idea of farming, might receive questions, and based on her answers, might be turned away from my expensive high-price coaching to a lower-priced affiliate offer, or an offer of my own, which helps people get their first 10 acres of land. Prospect B has been a farmer for 5 years, has 150 acres of his own land, and has indicated that he is hungry to get one-on-one help. Based on the answers he provided in the dynamic application, he'll see an offer to book a call with me to discuss coaching options. This dynamic filtering process does more than just reduce the tire kickers and time wasters on your sales call process. It actually meets people where they are and offers solutions for the problem they have at this moment. Remember, people buy solutions for the problem they have today. It's why prescription drug companies are able to sell so many drugs for preventable problems. People don't want to worry about being overweight. People don't want to worry about type 2 diabetes until they have type 2 diabetes. And then they worry about it a lot. This is not unique to health. This is a basic human buying behavior. The point of the dynamic application process is to meet your readers where they are, and then show them the right offer for them at that moment. It might not always be your highest premium offer. You are likely losing a significant amount of revenue right now, simply because you are only offering one solution to one particular problem that very few of your prospects are experiencing right this second. If you could run dynamic filtering, find out what people need right now, and then create offers for those people, you'd likely double or even triple your monthly revenues while serving the people who need you. It wouldn't take much work, and it wouldn't eat into your premium offer sales either. Let me give you an example. Maybe you are super excited right now about this whole OBMM thing. Maybe you are also just starting out and don't quite yet have a premium offer to sell. If I pushed you into a phone call to have us build a funnel, even if you had the money, you probably wouldn't and shouldn't buy our top-tier $50,000 offer. You just aren't ready. But that doesn't mean I can't help you get ready. I have a very inexpensive offer where my team and I will help you design and sell your first premium program or offer for much, much, much less than $50,000. If you were to fill out a dynamic application to talk to us, we would know not to offer you the thing which isn't right for you right at this moment. Instead, we could direct you to the next right thing. Then, maybe a few months down the line, once your premium offer is selling well, you could come back and say, "Okay, I'm ready for you to give me your best offer." This is how you hit $100,000 per month quickly, by not ignoring your people and by meeting them where they are at now. People who have serious intent to buy have a 60+% close rate for the solution to the problem they have at this very moment. The reason your sales conversion rates are lower than 60% is because you are talking to people who have the serious intent to solve a problem, but are seeing the wrong offer for the exact problem they believe is serious right now in their world. This is why I no longer recommend or use static application forms. I don't want my sales team on calls with people who need different solutions than what we can offer. I want 60% or higher close rates on our highest priced offerings. That is only possible through dynamic filtering. It's not high-pressure sales tactics that get the job done. It's not a guru's secret to a one-call close. It's about filling the salespeople's calendars full of individuals with a serious intention to solve a problem and matching them to the correct offer within my business. Rather than doing this manually, I use a dynamic filtering process and a technology like Typeform to automate this for me. Number 4. A phone call-based sales process. As I mentioned elsewhere in this book, the magic formula to a multi-six-figure per month business is this simple: a one-book millions method funnel, which leads into a $5,000 offer and a $25,000 offer. Here's the reality that many online entrepreneurs struggle with, but I hope I can help you overcome in this section. To sell something in an honest way for more than $5,000, you need to have a conversation in real time with a real human. If selling over the phone makes you nervous, let me be the first to dispel some myths and show you how fun it can actually be. Myth number 1. You don't need to talk to a human to sell a high-ticket offer. I've seen an offer floating around the interwebs that teaches people how to close high-ticket course sales without ever getting on the phone. As a serious student of internet marketing, of course, I looked deeply into it. It turns out the method does work, but it's also illegal. It relies on false scarcity, which is a serious violation of FTC laws. It requires lying about availability and deadlines. Even though you don't have a phone conversation in this supposed magic method, you still have to have a lengthy chat via social media messaging apps. In other words, what could be solved in a 15-minute phone call, you have to spend 45 minutes to 3 hours typing out in Messenger while pushing fake scarcity. Not my kind of way to do business. I've been doing this long enough to know that if you don't get on the phone, selling profit-creating offers is very, very difficult. The sooner you let go of the myth that it's possible to do otherwise, the sooner you can get real results. Myth number 2. You are the one who has to take the calls. If you follow the tactics in this book, including the one-book millions method funnel process, the email follow-ups, the dynamic filtering, etc., I can promise you that you will have the ability to have a complete stranger take 100% of your sales calls, and very likely close more business than you could on your own. What's more, these salespeople that would happily sell for you would do so without any upfront payment. By following the methods outlined in this book, you could very easily hire commission-based salespeople to run the entire sales process for your company. You could do $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 per month in sales, and never actually meet or speak with any of your customers or clients. That's exactly what I do in my businesses, doing those exact numbers. Some of you will have read that and shook your head saying, "No, it's impossible. I tried that already. Commission-only salespeople aren't that good." Or you might have the common fear, "I need to talk to all of my clients first. I need that control to make sure salespeople aren't allowing the wrong clients into my business." If your business runs cold traffic to a short webinar and a static application form, then yes, hiring commission-only salespeople is difficult because the sales conversation is difficult. You have to hire hardcore closers who are willing to bully, lie, and be aggressive just to make a sale. If you've used some other method in the past, which has generated low-quality, low-intent, non-filtered phone calls for sales staff, then of course your sales team generated poor results. Of course their close rate was low. Of course they brought on less than ideal clients. They were desperate. I would challenge you to rethink the limiting beliefs that you've developed as a result of past marketing and sales process mistakes you've made. Here's my reality. I have not taken a sales call in more than 7 years, and yet our conversion rates are extremely high, and we attract only the very best clients possible. I can confidently say that my current client roster is filled 100% with people I consider to be dream clients. How do we do this? The dynamic filtering process. Good emails, decent books, the OBMM funnel. I was the one who designed the initial attraction filter by writing the book. Therefore, my salespeople only talk to individuals that my automated filtering system had predetermined were my dream clients. It's impossible for my salespeople to close bad clients, because bad clients never even get a chance to talk to my salespeople. See how this works? So, if you're like me and you'd rather not spend all day on the phone yourself closing sales, the good news is that it's possible to hire good salespeople who work only on commission. Just make sure you have something like the OBMM in place to keep their calendars full of good calls. Myth number 3. You are going to face a lot of rejection taking sales calls. Again, using old, outdated methods void of dynamic filtering, Yes. Talking to complete strangers who have not been indoctrinated, who have not become customers, and who have not been through a dynamic filtering process will result in low closing rates. This means a significant amount of wasted time, lots of rejection, and the painful frustration of questioning whether your marketing message is wrong, why your lead quality is low, and why you're struggling to scale. Even if you have a sales team, as I have had for many years now, the worst thing you can do is fill a calendar with junk leads. Few things make me anxious these days. I like to think of myself as a grizzled veteran, having made money myself for more than 13 years. But still, to this day, a calendar full of low-quality phone calls sends me up the wall. It is, in my book, priority number one of things that need to get fixed yesterday. Why? Because of everything we do in selling stuff online, taking sales calls is the least scalable. If your salesperson dedicates 45 minutes for a sales call, and that call was filled with a low-quality lead, your salesperson doesn't get those 45 minutes back. It's time gone. In fact, a calendar full of low-quality prospects means, by definition, better quality prospects have fewer time booking options and are less likely to book a call because you or your salesperson are busy. I know that time is finite. We must utilize every moment in pursuit of 80-20. If we know that 80% of our revenue will come from 20% of the people we talk to as prospects, my obsession is to make sure my team's sales calls are made up as much as I can of that 20%. If you don't have a sales team, if you are a one-person shop delivering on the services and offerings while also taking sales calls, you have even less time to waste on low-quality prospects. Forget about the fear of being rejected and realize that you need to build a business where you are the one rejecting time wasters and people who aren't prepared. Guard your time like it's the most precious resource you possess, because it is. Myth number 4, the one-call close and aggressive sales tactics. Here's the dumbest sales advice I have heard in the past 13 years of making money online for myself and clients. Whoever talks first loses. This was sales advice given by a marketing guru who has a very large audience teaching people how to close high-ticket course sales over the phone. They had a sales script, which would end with the call to action. The students were instructed to be silent after mentioning the price. Students would report mentioning the price and then sitting on the phone for 5, 10, even 15 minutes without them or the prospect saying anything. This, my friends, is not a sales tactic. This is a psychologically manipulative tactic of aggression. This is a surefire way to put the wrong people in your courses, services, and coaching offers. This is how you get negative complaints on the internet from customers. This is how you ruin a reputation. This is how you get the FTC knocking at your door, filing lawsuits, and crippling your business. Instead, the phone call sales process ought to be the same process a doctor goes through when prescribing a patient's course of action. It should be caring, it should be educated, and it should have a sincere desire for the best outcome for the prospect. Now, before you judge me as soft or unwilling to do what it takes, let me assure you that my company sells significantly more in both volume and margin than the guru who taught this method. How do I know? Because I used to work for said guru, and I've seen the actual profit margins, which are ridiculously low and quite scary. Because they direct the cold traffic to a short presentation, then to a static application process. These guys are running on razor-thin margin of error. Additionally, if you think my sales approach is weak, I'd recommend studying and learning more from one of my favorite authors on the subject, Jim Camp. His approach to negotiation has been used by the FBI, Fortune 500 companies, and more. The point I'm trying to make here is not to try and change the industry. People are going to do what they are going to do. It is what it is. Instead, I want to offer you an alternative, which I believe is not only better for the prospect, but significantly more profitable for you. You see, if you're a coach or an agency or a freelancer or a course creator, you are in the business of helping people. Your job is not to manipulate people, but to show them the pathway to solving the problem that they have. The sale is not the end of the relationship, but the beginning. And the hardest, most expensive thing you will ever do in your business is to acquire a customer. The most profitable thing you will ever do in your business is to create a repeat buyer. Manipulating and bullying people into a sale by guilt tripping is one of the most short-sighted, expensive, and ridiculous strategies I've ever seen. If you've been misled to believe that the best salespeople are aggressive salespeople, I would highly recommend writing your book as quickly as possible, building your first OBMM funnel, and experiencing the difference in speaking to prospects who have been filtered and prepared to speak with you. It'll likely change your entire life. Key chapter takeaways. The 4 things needed to turn a book buyer into a premium client or customer. 1. A good offer. No matter how great your book is, it is unlikely that you'll be able to scale to $100,000 per month or more if it leads to a bland offer. 2. Email follow-up. People have incredibly short attention spans. The best tool that I know of for fighting through distraction and getting the attention of readers is email. 3. Filtering. 80% of the money that you will ever generate in your entire lifetime will come from 20% of the prospects you talk to. The book that you create acts as a stage 1 filtering process. 4. A phone call-based sales process. To sell something in an honest way for more than $5,000, you need to have a conversation in real time with a real human.